Assalamualaikum Dr. Nurul. My name is Nabila binti Rozizan with metric number 157031. We present to you the book review of the novel Howard End by E.M. Forster. E.M. Forster was a British famous novelist, social and literary critic. His famous works are The Howard's End and A Passage to India. Forster is known for the brave criticism wrote in his work. The novel, Howard's End by E.M. Forster, is an interesting story about the early 20th century lifestyle in England. This story revolves around three kinds of family who came from different status and background, which are the intellectual Schlegels, the wealthy Wilcox, and the struggling Bass. Even though they had different lifestyle and lived in different kinds of life, Forster highlighted the issue that still arise in today's society. The main themes of Howard's End is about how people stay connected and interacted with each other and the world that revolves around them. The book highlighted the transition and adaptation in society and accepting other people's traditional values. Not to mention, the struggles with the class and gender were also addressed in this book as it explains how society worked back in the day. Forster's findings and perspective in the novel about society inequalities and double standards are still relevant in today's modern society. The main character emphasized in the novels are Margaret Schlegels, Helen Schlegels, Henry Wilcox, and Leonard Bass. Margaret Schlegels is an important character as she is the person who has the connection between the three families, the Schlegels, the Wilcox, and the Bass. Margaret has a close connection to Wilcox family, whereas she has a profound connection with Ruth Wilcox. For instance, after her death, she married Ruth's widow husband, Henry. On the other hand, Helen Schlegels is a character who is more emotional, idealistic, and impulsive compared to her sister, Margaret. Moreover, Henry Wilcox from the higher class family strongly emphasized colonialism, patriarchy, and capitalism characteristics. Leonard Bass, a lower middle class man who faced class struggle, strive for financial improvement and is entangled with the Schlegels and the Wilcox. In my opinion, there are two main social issues and problems being discussed in the novel, which are class conflict and gender inequality. There are three families mainly discussed in the novel: the Schlegels, the Wilcox, and the Bass. The author E.M. Forster highlighted these different classes of family as he tried to convey to the reader the tragic reality of social class in England during the early 20s. The Schlegels are said to represent the intellectual and cultured upper middle class. For instance, the Schlegels family is likely to have a different mindset, intellectual and modern, which they are very concerned with appreciating art and beauty. For example, in chapter 5, during the Beethoven's Fifth Symphony concert, they describe the concert as an extremely beautiful noise, the most sublime noise that has ever penetrated into the ear of a man. Moreover, the Schlegels families also question the price of the concert, whereas it is too cheap to pay only 2 shillings despite its beauty and value. This family contradicts the Bass family. Bass family is said to represent the lower middle class, whereas they are struggling with financial problems. For example, Leonard Bass emphasized his struggles by worrying about the cost of the ticket. This can be seen in the dialogue, ought he to have paid as much as 2 shillings? Moreover, Leonard's character also reflects the economic hardship and struggle faced by lower middle class family. For instance, Leonard works as a low-paid clerk, whereas he lives in financial insecurity and unstable. He tends to follow Schlegel's suggestion to leave his secure job for a better opportunity. However, this decision leads him to further financial ruin. On the other hand, the Wilcox family represent the wealthy and business-minded upper class. They are practical, materialistic, and focused on economic power. This family characterization can be seen in the character Henry Wilcox. Henry is a man who strongly believes in patriarchy, capitalism, and colonialism. Moreover, Henry is also aware of his reputation and power. He tends to dominate and look down on the lower classes. This can be seen in chapter 16 when he tends to look down on the members of the lower classes such as Leonard by warning Margaret to be friends to such people who are not at their level. This from the example I have provided, we can see the three different levels of social class emphasized by the author. Next important issue discussed by Foster in the novel is gender inequality. During the early 20s back in England, gender inequality faced by women was not publicly discussed. However, Foster tends to address gender inequality issues in his writing by emphasizing the struggle and challenging faced by the woman's character in the novel. An example of gender inequality faced by women is when they tend to face restrictions of freedom proposed by the man. For example, in chapter 20, Margaret and Henry were discussing their future, whereas Henry mentioned that he owned some shares in a current farm near Kalamata. After hearing Henry's work, Margaret asked if they could have a honeymoon at that place. However, Henry tends to strongly oppose the idea and respond that it is not a kind of place to possibly go with a lady. From this scene, Henry emphasized a paternalistic opinion on the kinds of activity that appropriate for a woman. Moreover, the author also emphasized gender inequality through the social expectation and double standard faced by women. For example, in the novel, specifically in chapter 25, Margaret is seen to face harsh social expectation. This can be seen when Margaret's first public appearances as Henry's fiancée. She tends to receive expectation from Henry's friend, whereas she is expected to portray a gentle feminine character, such as being less intelligent, less worldly than a man, helpless and dependent to a man. Furthermore, Foster also raises the double standard issues. For example, Helen Schlegel's scandalous pregnancy faced harsh judgment and rejection, while Henry passing for having a mistress are easily forgiven. This can be seen in the dialogue of Margaret. You shall see the connection if it kill you, Henry. You have had a mistress. I forgave you. My sister has a lover. You travel from the house. This scene emphasized the double standard treatment received by women during that era. Reading these novels, Howard's End by E.M. Foster, has stimulated my emotional interest toward the storyline of the novel. The themes of the novel, such as social conflicts between the different social class, gender issues, and connection, really capture my interest to continue reading the novel. For instance, I was really amazed by the issues highlighted by the author, such as social conflicts and gender inequality that are still relevant to be discussed in today's world. Moreover, one of the famous quotes from the novel, Only Connect by Margaret, concludes the novel's central theme. It is interesting to see the connections of each character in the novel, which conveys the powerful message of the author toward the reader. In conclusion, Howard's End is a timeless book that is still very important today. The way it explores social issues, along with its beautiful writing and well-developed character, makes it memorable and valuable to read. That's all from me. Thank you.